My secret dates back to, my heart is racing. All right. My secret dates back to when I was 25 years old, and I was working as a local news reporter in Dayton, Ohio. Now, I want to set the scene for you guys, so I want to show you footage of what a young Julie Chen looked like in 1995 in Dayton.
Julie Chen is live in Moraine with more on this. Julie?
Well, Mark, as odd as it may sound, the reason that the OSP temporarily stopped using breathalyzers was because the problem was in the solution. Now, all right, it was cold out in the field. I wanted to try and get a seat on the anchor desk. So I asked my news director, I said, you know, if holidays, anchors want to take vacations, you know, could I fill in? Like, I don't care, I'll work Christmas. And he said, you will never be on this anchor desk because you're Chinese. And I was like, and he said, let's face it, Julie, how relatable are you to our community? How big of an Asian community do we really have in Dayton? The audience can't relate to you because you're not like them.
Wow.
And he said, on top of that, because of your heritage, because of your Asian eyes, sometimes I've noticed when you're on camera and you're interviewing someone, you look disinterested. You look bored because your eyes are so heavy. They're so small.
Oh my God.
So what am I supposed to say to my boss, right? I wanted to like cry right then and there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it felt like a dagger in my heart because all my life, my lifelong dream was to one day be a network news anchor. And if I can't even anchor in Dayton, Ohio, how am I ever going to get to New York City, right? And it took me back to, in an odd way, it took me back to, you know, when I was growing up in Queens and would get on the school bus and, you know, you would hear people say like ching chong and like pull their eyes to like, you know, and it was racism. And it felt like a weird, like, grown-up version of racism in the workplace, but I couldn't challenge him. He was my boss. And I started developing a complex. I got very insecure about this. I started back in the VCR days. I started recording the newscast every single day and running home and, like, watching myself, watching my video. And all I could see was my eyes. And does he have a point? And I mean, you can see in like some of my interviews, like I'm listening to, like in this one, I'm listening to this sheriff's deputy talk, and all I'm looking at is my eyes. Like, do I look bored or disinterested in what my subject is telling me? So fast forward, I'm like, I gotta get another job if I can. I can't work for this guy. So I start meeting with agents for career advice, so on and so forth. And this one big-time agent basically told me the same thing. This big-time agent had, like, the biggest names. Like, if you open up his closet, it was like all stars. He knew what he was doing. On his own, he basically told me the same thing. He said, I cannot represent you unless you get plastic surgery to make your eyes look bigger. He then whips out a list of plastic surgeons who have done this surgery. Now, anyone who's out there listening to this story who's in the Asian community, you know what I'm talking about. More than half of Asian people are born without what's known as a double eyelid. It's called a crease. Many of us are born with too much fat on the top of our eyes, which makes it look hooded and heavy. So when you open your eyes, that excess fat, excess skin hangs down, and to exaggerate it, it looks, you know, like that. And he said, but I will tell you this, you're good at what you do, but if you get this plastic surgery done, you're going straight to the top. So took my paper, I was like, thank you. I left very confused. I went home, I called my mother, because I was entertaining the thought of getting this done. Because I thought, get it done, My dream comes true for my career. Don't get it done, who knows what becomes of me. I call up my mother, silence. And I thought, oh my God, I've just totally destroyed my mother. And she said, this is a deeper conversation that we have to extend to your father. We have, she didn't want to judge me. She didn't want to say anything. Mm-hmm. We had a long conversation about if it would be denying my heritage, mm-hmm. if I should get it done, if I should say that's bull crap and just go on. On the other hand, this guy at that time represented the most famous Asian broadcaster, probably in the history of broadcasting. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say the names, and others. So he wasn't, he knew, we were like, well, what if he has a point? My mom calls one auntie, my father calls an uncle. It spread to my entire family. It divided the family. Mm-hmm. It was like, members of my family wanted to disown me if I got it done. They let it be known, you do this, and
oh my God.
And it was so hard. And then my mother, she called me after it all kind of died down. She was like, you know what you do? She was like, you wouldn't have brought this up to me if you didn't feel in your heart that this is something you have to do. If you want to do it, your father and I support you. We will fly to Los Angeles, where there was this one surgeon who was known for doing them very well. She goes, we will fly to Los Angeles, we will pay for your surgery, and we will hold your hand through it, and while you heal, you get the time off from work, we are there for you. And I did it. And oddly enough, now I want to show you, I want to really demonstrate what my news headshot looked like before I had this mm-hmm. plastic surgery done. Mm-hmm. This is in 1996. That's what I looked like with my old eyes. And I had the surgery done many years later, not many years later, but it takes about a year to heal before it really just sets in. I mean, afterwards, they were swollen. I thought, oh my God, I really messed up now. Now I'm getting fired in Dayton. The one job that would hire me, now I'm losing. And I want to show you a side-by-side of how dramatic this surgery really was. I mean, if you look at the after, the eyes are bigger. Mm-hmm. I look more alert. Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. More expressive.
Right. And how do you feel about yourself right now?
Now it's I sometimes wonder, but I will say after I had that done, everything the ball did roll for me, mm-hmm. which I struggle with. Wow. Did I give in to the man and do this? And it was...
Sorry, you didn't give in to the man, Julie, because you don't know about giving in to the man,
Fair enough. Right. I will say that...
Right. You didn't do that. You made a choice that was good for you, and you have represented, I'm going to say it, your people. You represented your race. You represented women and your colleagues. Don't look back.
Thank you.
It's the right thing to do.
Don't look back.
Well, I think you are beautiful before, you're beautiful now, and it's really whatever makes you happy.
Look, I don't like to live with regret. I did it. I moved on. No one's more proud of being Chinese than I am, and I have to live with the decisions I have made. Every decision I've made, regardless of this or other things, it got to where we are today, so I'm not going to look back. But that's my secret.